Hello, my name is Wolfgang Schnitzel and welcome to my talk show. Today's guest, we have
Bohuslän Banana Band. We're not quite as professional as the Belgian Villanueva gang. But we're really trying hard.
Just relax. Relax your muscles. Take a deep breath. Relax. Yeah.
Climbing is
You comfortable now?
wall.
Medication time.
This is my show.
Yeah, Schnitzel live show. Tune in.
Medication time.
Yeah, we're good. You did it again. We might have lost our recording because usually, start again and we go fast. Log in.
Take two.
Take two.
Relax.
This is the second take with the flamingo. We try again. We got sound. We got Brittany Goris on the show. Show us your fingers, Brittany. Some serious fingers you got there.
Yeah, I'm never gonna be a hand model at this point. They're pretty gnarly.
Have you ever thought about becoming a model?
Yeah, because this is what a normal finger looks like.
Brittany Goris on the show. Nice to meet you again once more. All the way from Washington, just getting ready for the Girls Rock Math kind of summer camp. What's that all about?
So I work for a company that does these math-based summer camps. It's based in Seattle, and the whole idea is that studies show that girls lose confidence in STEM fields, which is science, technology, engineering, and math at a really young age. And so this company aims to lessen the STEM gap by empowering girls to be interested in, confident in math specifically, but also the other STEM fields. And so it like presents a lot of concepts they don't learn in school in like a fun and interesting way, and in like a summer camp style. So it's, the whole point is they're supposed to be having fun. And it's really cool organization, and most of the year I work remotely for them doing graphic design so that I can travel and climb full time. But during the summer, when they're actually running camps, there's more of a need for all hands on deck. So I come back to the city to help, get everything ready mostly.
Let's continue on our journey down memory lane. Looking back at living in a van and spending time outside. I mean, what's really important to you then?
Well, I think that what's important to me is how I spend my time, because that's kind of like the only like truly limited resource that we really have in life. And so, filling what time I have in life with as meaningful of things as I can. And for me, the things that bring the most meaning to my life are climbing and the people I get to share my life with. And, it's so I've essentially like built my life around climbing as much as I can, but also, like interacting with the climbing community, because that's sort of like the people that, I connect with the most. And that's like another big thing about living on the road is that, you have like this really cool community made up of people that you see kind of following the same circuits, chasing the weather, and then you're also always meeting new people, which is like really amazing. And then as part of my pursuits in climbing, I also get to give back to climbers all over the place by, inspiring them with the things that I do and helping them learn from my mistakes and my successes. And so that's like, I would say that's what's most important to me.
And do you generally like choose fruits and other like edible things to kind of place protection? Or, I mean, there was a There was a time when you just decided to go all apeshit about watermelons. I mean,
That was that was not the first time I've taken a fall on an atypical
and
piece of gear.
edible.
One time in Joshua Tree, we had like this game where the whole idea was to like make climbing as non-serious as possible, and you got points for doing different things, and one of them was to fall on non-traditional gear. And I rolled up a crossword book and put a sling around it and stuffed it in a crack, and I fell on that. But other than that, no, the watermelon thing was just a silly idea that I had. One time I was in Vitavu and we had a watermelon, and I was like, oh, we should like take a whip on it, see if it'll hold. And we didn't at that point, but I just talked about it all summer. And then like my last day there, you guys, we have to do it. We have to do the watermelon thing. And everyone was like, okay, sure, Brittany, if you really want to do it. So no, it's not something that I do regularly. It was just an idea I thought would be fun and silly, and and it definitely was.
Are there any other fruits which come into mind which you would think would be appropriate for trad climbing?
For sure. I had all kinds of other ideas because, there's so many different sizes of cracks. So, why not like try different sizes of food? You could like, the sky's the limit with a little imagination, what you can protect cracks with.
I mean, coconuts seem to be appropriate, eh?
Yeah. Like a
Fresh
cantaloupe,
coconuts.
maybe?
Cantaloupe, yeah. I mean, that's a bit thinner. I mean, compared to watermelon. How about carrots? I mean, I know you love carrots. Have you tried
Yeah.
carrots and cracks?
That might work. Maybe like an avocado pit.
I was thinking the same actually a few weeks ago. Just drill a nice hole in it and put a sling in it, like a Kevlar
Right?
or just a 6 mil. Yeah. I think that's something we should try next time when you come to Sweden. Get like a rack of avocado pips, just a full rack of avocado pips.
I'd do it.
All right, let's talk about something which I'm quite interested about. You've wrote an article a few years back in regards to your let's call it your experiences with bouldering. And your kind of experience of kind of getting shut down a bit or running out of steam. Can you just
Yeah.
briefly touch on that subject?
Yeah. So I've gone through a lot of different phases and chapters in my climbing and sort of progressed through different things. Like I used to climb in the gym a lot and compete, and then I transitioned into bouldering outside, and I was really stoked on that for a while. But I sort of like hit a wall with it where I just was training super hard and had these big goals, and I just felt like I couldn't get to where I wanted to go no matter how hard I tried. And I got really frustrated with it because I would just like fail over and over again, and I couldn't see a way forward. And not only that, but a big part of the problem was that I was climbing with a bunch of people that were like a little bit stronger than me. And when I was failing, they were succeeding and they were sending all of the climbs that I was trying to do, and I was not. And I didn't really have, I was young in my early 20s, and I didn't really have like a healthy perspective on what, how much of my ego was getting wrapped up in this. And I was just comparing myself constantly to everyone around me. And the fact that I think like less so the failure and more the comparison led to me getting just really burned out on bouldering and climbing, and I just like was so frustrated and felt so stuck. And eventually I just kind of didn't want to boulder anymore. I didn't even want to climb anymore for a little while. I say a little while, it was only like a few weeks. But it felt like forever, because I've never taken more than a few weeks off from climbing in my life. And so, it felt like a huge dramatic thing to like all of my friends are climbers. My whole life is built around climbing. And when I didn't want to climb for a little period of time, just felt like I didn't even know who I was. And, you know, it took like a long time for me to have perspective enough to realize that it was just like a thing where I was being held back by my own ego. And, I've never really been all that interested in bouldering ever since then. I sort of switched to sport climbing, and it changed who I was climbing with. And I didn't really feel competitive with the people I started climbing with, and it helped me like I started sport climbing, and I realized, over time what the like what was actually going on that whole time. So like I don't regret any of it. It really was foundational in helping me understand like my own relationship with climbing. And I still I'm a really competitive person, and I have to work really hard to not feel competitive with my partners in a way that is anything other than productive and supportive. And I had to sacrifice my desire to boulder in order to learn that, and that's okay because it's taken me to some incredible places. And but yeah, so it was a hard lesson to learn.
But what comes up in your mind if you just go back to the Brittany, like going all a bit apeshit about, like, oh fuck, I can't do this problem. Other people just kind of seem to figure it out really quickly. I mean, what did change? How did you change yourself?
Well, at first it was sort of I took a step back and stopped taking climbing so seriously, because it lost its ability to be fun for a while. Kind of, I was just training all the time and pursuing like numerical growth. Like I wanted to just climb harder numbers, and I sort of lost sight of like what it was all really about. It was just about progression, in like an achievement based way. And when I started sport climbing more seriously after that, it was more about the experience and more about like the joy and passion of what I was actually doing. And I was just started hanging out with this group of people that were just so fun to go camping with and to go cragging with. And it totally reignited my passion for climbing because it was fun again. It was like I looked forward to going. It wasn't just this grind. And I think as I learned to just find a balance between achievement and like just the lifestyle and being passionate about the sport, I started to realize that like a balance is really important. And like an interesting thing happened where the more that I stopped putting all this pressure on myself to just like send, and started trying to just have fun with my friends while also pushing myself and climbing as hard as I could, growth came much more naturally. And I started to get a lot better, and like go through the grades pretty quickly. I think in a much less like heinous and hateful way than what I was doing before. And like I wasn't just like angrily training to try and get better to send the boulder problem. I was like, I started to like be inspired by actual routes instead of by numbers and grades. And it made it much easier to focus and to train the weaknesses that were holding me back, and to have like a much more like just like a better perspective on my relationship with climbing in general. And this didn't all happen all at once. It was sort of, I mean, it was happening quickly, but I was not really cognizant of everything that was happening until I was able to reflect on it looking back and see like what was actually going on. At the time, all I knew was like, climbing's fun, and I'm gonna go climbing now because I'm not just miserable and getting beat down and hating myself over it. Like, I'm having fun, and I like spend all week looking forward to going camping with my friends on the weekends. And So that was like sort of that whole transition.
I tell you a little story. I don't know if you know it, but there's a really nice, interesting story about John Gill, actually. And in one of his books, I think it's Master of Stone or Master of Rock, he expresses or he explains like one of his best bouldering sessions. Have you heard about this?
No.
Well, he just goes like, he kind of explains in the book like one of his best bouldering experiences. He was like, he went to the crag, to a bouldering place, went there, found like $5 or $10, some money, and he just went like, took the money, sat around in the bottom of the boulder, and happily enjoyed the day and just went back home again. And he's expressing that to be his best one of his best experiences of going bouldering. And I just fucking love it. It's like,
Yeah.
excuse my French, but it's like it's just such a nice way of like looking like a Zen master, just going like, well, you know what? It's just nice to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like at the end of the day, there's like a really loud noise there. At the end of the day, it's like,
they will cut me down.
you don't look back on like every climb you ever did. I mean, like, sure, there's ones that I don't know. Is that like loud noise coming through on your end?
No problem. It's part of life.
Yeah, it's like the things that really matter is like the people you spent time with and the experience you had, not, like the project you sent. That's just, I mean, that's an awesome thing, and it's like a big part of what drives and motivates me, but there's not that many of the climbs I've actually done that really mean as much as the, greater experiences I've had.
This is not. These are my sponsors. My birthday was 2 weeks ago, and I got this really nice crate of beer. It's a mixed crate of beer,
Nice.
and it's from Frankenjura, obviously. So I'm just gonna have to quickly.
Dang, I wish I was drinking a beer right now, but it's 10:30 in the morning here.
Yeah,
so.
man. You just next time we'll just do the same thing I did with Cedar. Just start late.
Yeah.
All right. So you haven't been back bouldering then, have you?
I boulder occasionally, like I don't know, a couple times a year, but I never really
Got back into it
pour my
properly.
heart into it the way I do with other types of climbing. It's always kind of just something that ends up happening. Like, oh, I'm here, or like my friends are going, and I guess I'll go bouldering. But I don't actively pursue it.
There's someone you really like, someone who vanished a few years back on quite a sad accident. It's Todd Skinner.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, just a quick note. Todd was probably definitely one of the leading kind of climbers in the States. For a long time, really explorative, open person who seemed to travel like a lot. And what I really want to know is like, why did you get inspired by his ideology or like his approach and his kind of like ethic or like his mindset? What's getting you to the point of going like, okay, I really like this guy and the way he was thinking?
So, there's like a couple parts to it, and it was like both the things he did, but more like who he was, and having like never met him, it's easy to like sort of create this image in my head of like the like ideal of who I want to be, and like take all of these things away from that, which is like he was like this person who was so ultimately dedicated to the pursuit of like hard climbing and adventure and like all of these things that he was like one of the first people that really pursued professional climbing and was traveled all over the place. Most of the other people at the time kind of stuck to their local crags, and yet he like traveled all over the place and was always like really excited about meeting people and was very passionate about building community. he created the International Climbers Festival in Lander, and that festival down in Waco, and all of these things that, like, were not just about like his own climbing, and they were about climbing as like a greater picture, and like giving back to the community, and then at the same time he's going around climbing all these hard climbs, and not just hard cracks but like hard sport climbs, and it's like living in a van that's always breaking down, and it just like, I look at like his life and his legacy and the things he's done and who he was, and like that's what I aspire to in my own climbing, is I want to be a positive force on a bigger scale than just what I'm doing for myself. Like I want to climb hard for myself because that inspires me, but I want my climbing and my own whatever contribution to the world or to the legacy, like my own legacy, to be something that like improves the community and inspires other people, and that's like what it means to me to like be a professional climber, or just to be a climber that anyone would ever be interested in paying attention to.
Will you get your ass over here one day again to Europe? I mean, it's a far away dream, obviously, for now, but do you think you're gonna come back?
Absolutely. I mean, I used to be really excited about going to Europe, and then I got a little soft myself because I got a van, and then now that I have like a home that can drive wherever I want to
Come
go,
on.
it makes it harder to want to travel
Jesus
overseas.
Christ, you got
I'm
all
like,
fucking
oh,
cozy now.
I know. I'm like, I could like get on a plane and go sleep somewhere uncomfortable, or I could just like drive my van to somewhere where I know that all my friends are going to be. And but I do,
Don't go soft on me now, Brittany. It's ridiculous.
I mean, a part of it is like, I've always had a pretty hard time with insomnia and trouble sleeping.
I get it.
And so like having like a consistent and like place I know I can sleep well.
Having like a double mattress in a cave with four wheels.
I have a really nice mattress, and it makes it like so much easier to just stick with the places I can drive to. But
No, I get it.
And there's the other thing is that there's so many places I still have not.
Is it a toilet flush?
They're like drilling in the other room,
No
I think,
problem.
to fix the water leak.
Slow.
But yeah, like there's so many places I haven't really spent time that I can drive to still. Like, I still have an endless amount of climbing to do in Yosemite and all over the United States. There's all these places I've never been, and I connect so much with the history of climbing over here. I don't know as much about European climbing history, and I know all the people on the circuit around here. So there's like all these reasons that I'm just like so tempted to continue to do things in the States. But there are like seasons where there's not as much, like the winter, there's not as many good places to go. And that's like a good time to be in Europe. So it will come, I'm sure. I will venture abroad soon.
You'll get the bug again.
But,
Don't worry, man. The bug will bite you, and you'll be like, "What the fuck?" No, that's great. I mean, ultimately, like we don't. I mean, it's. I mean, right now where I am, it's some of the best granite in the world. So, it probably is the best granite. And the good thing about it is, I mean, nobody really wants to go there.
Well, you say it's the best granite in the world, but once you come to Index, you might be singing a different song.
Well, yeehaw! I will be singing a different song. Index. Do you need an index finger for Index, or show me your index finger again? Oh man, it's like, what the fuck what happened there? Did you eat too many carrots?
No, this was from it got all messed up on a climb I was working on a couple years ago, called Stingray and Joshua Tree. And I had to essentially, it's like an overhung finger crack, and I had to do a move where I was like stacking my fingers like this and like pulling my whole body weight on that. So it was like all of my weight was on this one knuckle, and it just like, I don't know. I don't really know why it is all weird and deformed and like swollen, but that was what caused it. I don't, like medically, who knows what's all messed up inside, but
You
still
don't
climb.
care. You just never went to the doctors.
Yeah, I mean, like, so here's the thing: is like the shape and size of my fingers has changed, but now I've got like this one really big finger
You
that
got a
makes
really
it
nice
super easy
jamming
to
finger. You could actually use it as a nut placement.
Right. See, that's what I'm saying is, yes, they get stuck a lot, but with like this giant finger, I can climb 0.5 size cracks,
Wow.
like a finger crack. And then on my other hand, where my finger's a little smaller, I can climb like a slightly smaller size a little more comfortably. And then like my pinkies are still normal, so I can still get into 0.3s if I go like with my pinkies. So, just like it just increased the range of my arsenal.
I think we're done. I'm really happy.
Sweet.
Just relax.
Just press
Relax
pause.
your muscles.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Relax.